This is example 3 of finding the equation of a tangent line. Find the equation of the tangent line to the graph of capital F of x equals tangent of pi times x plus 3 at the point 0, 3. So we need two things, the slope of the line and any point on the line. And again, that's not just true for tangent lines, that's true for lines in general. And we're told that the tangent line is tangent at the point 0, 3. So what that means is that the tangent line has to actually go through that point. In other words, 0, 3 must be a point on the tangent line. So we have one of the two things we need. Now we just need the slope. And how do we get the slope? We remember that slope is derivative. So the slope of the tangent line at a specific point is the same thing as the derivative of the function at that same point. So since capital F of x is tangent of pi times x, then f prime of x is pi times secant squared of pi x. So that's just from the chain rule there. So when we do the chain rule, we take the derivative of the big guy, evaluate it at the little guy, and the big guy is tangent because that's affecting everything, and the little guy is pi x. So the derivative of the big guy, the derivative of tangent, is secant squared, and then we evaluate that at the little guy. In other words, leave the little guy alone inside. So we have secant squared of pi x, and then the chain rule says also multiply by the derivative of the little guy. Well, the little guy is pi x, so the derivative of pi times x is just pi. So that's where this pi out here comes from. And then we want to evaluate this at x equals 0 because we want the slope of the tangent line at 0, 3, and the slope of the tangent line at that point is the same thing as the derivative at that point. And the derivative we have is a function of x right here. So we take our x coordinate, which is 0, and we plug it into the derivative to get the slope at that point, the slope of the tangent line at that point. So f prime of 0 is pi times secant squared of 0. Secant squared of 0 is just 1. That's a unit circle trig type thing. And pi times 1 is just pi. So f prime of 0 is pi. So the derivative at the points 0, 3 is pi, which means the slope at that same point is also pi. So the slope of the tangent line is pi. So basically it's a pre-calculus thing now because all the calculus stuff is done. So we just need the equation of the line that has slope pi and goes through the point 0, 3. So what we're going to do is use the point slope form equation of a line. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1, where m is the slope, and x1, y1 is any point on the line. And we have all three of these quantities here. So in our case, we already know that m is pi, x1, y1 is 0, 3. In other words, x1 is 0, and y1 is 3. So we just take these three numbers, m, x1, and y1, pi, 0, and 3, and plug them into our general form here, our point slope form equation of the line here. And we get y minus 3 equals pi times the quantity x minus 0. And we simplify that to just x, so that's y minus 3 equals pi x. Add 3 to both sides, and we get y equals pi x plus 3. And that's our final answer. And I do encourage you to graph this line and to graph this function here and verify that the line really is tangent to the graph of this function at the point 0, 3.